Released in December 2022, Need for Speed Unbound is an overall solid and interesting take on the franchise, although they received mixed reviews from both critics and players. While it's subjective to label the game as a failure, there were certain factors that contributed to its lukewarm reception. Before we start though, I just want to say I do really like this game. It has a lot of good things about it. It is currently on sale as well, up to 70% in fact. So if you want to try the game out and save big money while you're doing it, I do recommend that you check out Need for Speed Unbound. Now, let's get started. Cost of living at an all-time high, microchip issues, console shortages were among the reasons why some people didn't buy Unbound. Obviously, the devs wanted people to upgrade and spend less time on developing the game for the previous generation. This is a fair point, although getting a PS5 and an Xbox Series S were still a challenge at the time when this game was coming out. And so people were naturally disappointed when Unbound wasn't available for the past generation, especially when this game shares so many features and basically the same foundation as Heat. Revealing the game 2 months before launch, in my opinion, was an excellent idea. I'd rather wait 2 months instead of 6, but what this meant was that there was little to no time to market the game, and with no marketing, this meant that not everyone knew this game was releasing. Hell, I was literally on a Discord call a few days after Unbound was released with some friends, and not one of them knew that the game was even out or even being made at that point. But it seems natural that EA usually neglects the Need for Speed when it comes to marketing. I blame Jake Paul. Although I enjoyed the storyline, others found it weak and slow burning. The game's storyline was viewed as being unremarkable and uninspiring. The narrative lacked depth and failed to engage players effectively, resulting in a lackluster single-player experience. We often heard about certain characters in the game who we never actually got to see or meet them in the game also, and maybe other gamers found the story to be cringy, which is understandable. In fact, I loved the game's story because of it, but parenting that to unskippable days in the day-night cycle made what originally looked like a short story into a long, repetitive one. And it took one of the best features from Heat and made it a little more bland. It is safe to say whether this is a Need for Speed problem or an EA problem, but Need for Speed's post-launch support over the past few years has been shambolic. For 2015, we got a big update once a month for 6 months. For Payback, we got 2 updates, one in December with Speedcross, another in March, and another one in July, which were literally just car packs. Wait, that's 3. Heat got 1 update, and for Unbound, it took us 4 months to get an update for that game. With the next update coming out in God knows when, it is safe to say that the players are worried about what's going to happen next. For comparison, The Crew 2, which is a garbage game in my opinion, gets an update every second month. Gran Turismo 7 gets an update monthly, and Forza has a playlist with cool cars every week, although some of them are repetitive. Overall, I think the developers don't have a good endgame when it comes to releasing these titles. They don't really know what's going to happen next, probably because EA usually pull the plug before they get the chance to. In fairness, the circuit and sprint races in this game are absolutely mega, and the takeovers are fun too, but the drift events in Unbound are simply not entertaining, and in my brutally honest opinion, it is a new low point in the franchise. Underground 2 had 5 different kinds of events, as did Most Wanted 05. Unbound has a similar amount of different race types, but they're all just a little too similar to one another. Whatever happened to drag racing? Why don't we have street drifting like we did in 2015 Payback or Heat? Where are the outrun races and the speed traps and the lap knockout events? All of these events were all unique in their own different ways, and they kept the gameplay interesting and fresh. I think adding drag racing and time attack events could be helpful, and even mini stories surrounding those events, regarding different characters and different plot lines. Even just having other drivers cruising around the city, just to make it feel a bit more lifelike. Like, don't get me wrong, the pedestrians were a great addition, but I think even if you added more different players driving around, you can make the game feel a lot more alive. Always a tricky area with past Need for Speeds, the multiplayer on Unbound is separate from the main game, which basically means that you have to start your progress all over again. No transferred over cars from single player career mode, different character, different progression. It was believed that this was done because we were going to get a multiplayer story, but as of right now there isn't one yet, and until the March update, the Unbound multiplayer had some serious issues. First, there was no cops at launch. and that people were somehow cheating the car class system. So therefore, in the B class, where you would usually race a Mitsubishi Eclipse, you were up against a Ferrari 48 Pista. Thankfully, the new update has ironed out most of these issues, but it seems just a little too late. Hopefully though, the next big update does improve. Personally, I haven't played the multiplayer that much because I just wasn't fond of it, if I'm being fully honest. But maybe if they added the story mode, as well as bigger parties, I would probably try it out again. So that's pretty much everything about Need for Speed Unbound, and why it could potentially fail. Not just because the game failed, it doesn't mean that it was bad. It's actually very good. I generally do like this game, and the only issue is that EA and the developers seem to just keep making the same mistakes over and over again. The mixture of consistency of errors and the unfortunate events outside of their control, as well as a feeling of neglect from EA, Unbound sadly could be dead before we know it.